worked with a woman who was like a born again Christian. She was very, very into the beliefs. Although she did believe that if her and her boyfriend used, like if she was on the pill and he used a condom, then it was like two negatives made a positive and it didn't happen. So like that was her way of getting around premarital sex. I know. But so she presented herself as being very staunchly firm in her beliefs. So I had read this book called The Year of Living Biblically by A.J. Jacobs. And if you've not read it, it's worth a read. He spends 1 year following every single rule in the Bible. He was about to have, his wife was about to have, give birth. And he says he grew up as Jewish as the Olive Garden is an Italian restaurant, right? So like, that's the comparison he draws. So he wanted to know if he missed out on anything by not being raised with faith. So he thought for a year he would follow all the rules in the Bible. So for I think he actually did a little bit longer. For several months he went Old Testament, and then for several months he went New Testament. I know I'm going to bring it back to her, but I have to.
That's interesting.
It's so good. So, and like he follows all, like he wrote them all down. He had spiritual advisors. So if he came up to a problem, he'd reach out to those advisors, and like everything. He, even in the book, I wish I could show you, but I lent it to somebody else and I never returned it. So I don't have it, but there's like pictures of him through the process because he had to stop shaving and he had to stop cutting his hair and he had to get the robes because he couldn't wear mixed materials, and because he couldn't sit, I'm ruining it for you, so I'm sorry, but like he couldn't sit on a bus anymore because you're not supposed to sit in a space where a woman who was on her period had sat, and he didn't know if a woman had been on her period, so he had to buy this like little chair that he could take with him so he could use sitting. And then when his like his wife, I guess, started to get a little fed up. So like he came home one day and he was about to sit down and she was mad at him. She's like, I wouldn't sit there if I were you. And she had sat in every space that he could.
Fucking brilliant.
Then he had these questions of, okay, so you can't on Sundays, right? You can't make graven images. So does that mean I can't turn on the television? But if I walk into a room and the TV is on, so he had all these questions about it. And then he switches into New Testament, which had a whole other set of problems, because then he had to reach out to his advisors, like the Old Testament says this, the New Testament says this, is this, like, do they cancel each other out? Do I add on to it? I've ruined the book for you, but it's a very good read.
No,
I haven't ruined it because it's his experiences. So there's still
totally.
a lot of really good nuggets in there. So I had told her that I was reading this book and she was really curious about it. So I lent it to her, and within 2 days, she brought it back. And she said, I can't read this because it's making me question my faith. And she refused to read it. And I thought that was really unusual because I guess because I'm naturally curious and I'm not someone who has faith, but the thought that she was just so uncomfortable with it being questioned. That I think there was probably more people in your thought that it would strengthen some people. And I think there's more that are on the fence that just wouldn't want to give it thought. They would just get into the business of living and they're like, I'll set that for another day and not have to be uncomfortable.